Hi everyone, it's Lisette and welcome to an After Dark video. I haven't made one of these in quite a long time and I thought it would be great to make one today, to make an After Dark video. And these videos are usually, I post them when it starts getting dark, and then you can watch them, or you can watch them any time of the day. You're trying to take a nap, you just want to listen to something. Sometimes when I go to bed, I like hearing a podcast. I like watching my favorite, videos in the evening when I'm relaxed. I just really enjoy it. I'm really not into videos that have a whole lot of drama going on. I'm just not into those kind of videos. They kind of get me a little nervous. So I don't really watch them, but I like to watch like my homemaking videos, some of my homesteaders. Those that you watch and when you're done, you feel good. You feel good, you feel like, okay, now I can go to sleep, or I can read a book, or whatever it may be. So I like making these After Dark videos. I actually have a After Dark playlist that you can go on ahead and check out. And it has all my After Dark videos. I have some from 2 years ago, and I really enjoy them. And once in a while, I like to get on here and make them, especially in the winter time, is when I usually make them. Not so much in the summer, but I do want to make them sporadically throughout the summer for those who are looking for something quiet to do. And an After Dark video is the best. So I hope you all are doing great today and that you had a great day. Today's book that I'm going to be reading out of is called The Tales of the Open for Little Folks. And I like reading these kind of books. I like anything that has to do with nature. That's why I like Tasha Tudor books, and I like Beatrix Potter, I like her books because they all have to do with animals and nature and just flowers, and that's what I enjoy. So this is what I'm going to be reading tonight. This book was written by a very young author many years ago. So I'm going to start reading and tell you a little bit about the author. This is her picture. And her name was Virginia Lois Brooks. From Heart to Heart is an easy road on which these artless stories will not go astray. They are the work of a little girl who completed them all before the end of her 11th year, and are entirely unalterated. They bring the freshness of the morning, the dance of the sunbeams and raindrops, the laughter of brooks, the song and color of birds and flowers, the sweet confidences of shy woodland creatures, all touched by the magic brush of a child's imagination, awakened to the beautiful correspondence of outward nature with the loving human heart. In this keen sense of world kinships, so early revealed, lies the assured promise of the young author's more mature accomplishment. Mary A.P. Stansbury. I wish I knew more about her. I actually researched this author. I wanted to know more about her life, and there's very little out there to research about her. So I was a little disappointed about that because her writings are amazing. This one is called The Awakening of the Flowers. And look at the beautiful pictures. Now, she was not the illustrator. So the illustrator of the book is the lady that wrote the little paragraph about her. And I think that's really beautiful. The spring had come. Deep down in the ground, a little seed stirred. Just stirred. Then another little seed stirred. But even though the seed just moved, it has split the back of its brown coat. The other seed, the second one, had not split the coat on his back, but the first had awakened. It was a very happy awakening, for the little seed felt that he had been asleep a long time, and felt as though he must stretch. And he did stretch, for his coat split clear down the back. Ah, thought the seed, now I have more room. Then he stretched more and more, but the rest of the day he spent in being quiet and was enjoying the novelty of being awake for the first time when he heard a sound. Actually heard a bird singing. It was a robin, and this was its song. Cheer up, come hear my song, come hear it. Instantly, the seed felt a desire to climb, so it started up, up, up. Soon it noticed that the seed that had been near it was opening his brown coat, but the seed kept on climbing. I think that is such a sweet little story about seeds growing and becoming beautiful flowers. What a great way for a little girl to express her thoughts on watching flowers bloom. It was a sweet May morning. The sky was clear and blue, and the grass was a lovely fresh green. The robins and bluebirds joined in a happy chorus, and anyone who heard them could not help but feel that it was just a joy to be alive, to be able to hear the birds sing and see the flowers come up, to have the pleasure of living on the big, wide, beautiful world of ours. A certain jolly robin sat on a little tree, singing a joyful carol. Down on the ground came a shoot, a tiny, pale, yellowish-green shoot, pushing its way up. My, how good it seemed to our little brown seed to reach the light. But this was not the only flower that had come up to the surface. Tiny shoots came climbing up. A week later, the little buds had burst. The sweet May flowers showed sweet pink, white, and lavender beauty, and the anemones cast brightness everywhere. A tiny girl went into an old-fashioned garden. Buds were coming out everywhere, and the distance from the old-fashioned gate to the house was covered with anemones, spring beauties, mayflowers, and violets. It looked as if nature carpet had been put there. The child gazed about with a pair of deep brown eyes that seemed to see everything. Then she knelt down, laid her face lightly against the carpet of flowers. The sunset glowed in the western sky. A robin chirped his goodnight song on a budding bough. A child knelt in a quaint old-fashioned garden amongst the symbols of spring. All was calm and soft and still, save for the evening song of the robins. The sunset deepened in the west. The ball of fire glowed for an instant, then sunk beneath a rose-colored cloud. Joy and peace reigned for the flowers. The true sign of spring had awakened. What a beautiful, beautiful story and beautiful writings by such a young girl. Absolutely beautiful. She is a great writer, or she was, because this was many years ago. And like I said, I could not find too much about her, which I would have loved to find more about her as an author, because it's amazing. And the beautiful drawings that the artist drew. Let's read one more. And this one is The Tale of the End of the Tail. The tale, like in story, of the end of the tail, like in a tale, a cat's tail. Fluff and Molasses were listening attentively to Mother Puss, who was purring an interesting tale out of a big open book. She blinked wisely and lifted her eyes to the kittens, who were watching her as if to say, "Now, Fluff, what does that mean?" Or Molasses, repeat that last phrase. The story was all about a great attic, which was full of nice, fat mice who were not very anxious to run away and were perfectly willing to let frisky little cats and kittens eat them up. At least, that was the way Mother told it. It quite made the kittens' mouths water. With a beautiful picture of the kittens, so adorable. And my cat actually is an orange tabby. That's really pretty. The tale was soon ended, and Mother Puss and Fluff fell asleep. Molasses dozed off, but was awakened suddenly, and looking sharply about, discovered a roll of paper moving slightly. Suddenly, every muscle in her tiny body became tense, and Mother Puss, lying on the top of a pile of books, awoke and made ready to spring. The startled movements of her mother and sister awoke Fluff, and she too became rigid. Now I will tell you the reason for these queer actions. As I said before, the roll of paper had moved and awakened Molasses. But the cause had been that a wormy little tail had appeared from the roll of toilet paper and looked suspiciously like the tail of a nice, fat, wiggly little mouse. When Mother Puss and Fluff awoke, they had noticed it too. Suddenly, Molasses gave a spring and landed on the tail. She gave a jerk and pulled a great fat mouse out of the roll of paper. She shook it until it was dead, but tossed it about so that she flung it into an inkwell standing near, and they had to clean it off. But finally, it was ready, and they made a fine meal. So it made an appropriate ending to the tale of the end of a tale. Just like a child's imagination in their mind. She has many stories in this book. The artist is an amazing artist. I really like the detail on the artwork. I like how they incorporated the black and white detail and then the different colors, which I think is pretty amazing. This is just really a nice book. In another After Dark video, maybe I'll read another story from this book. They have one called The Yellow Pumpkin, which I think would be very interesting. Jack Frost. We all know about Jack Frost. This is a really cute book. It's a nice book to share with your loved ones, with your children. I think one thing that why I have a love of reading, because my mom always had books, and she always had books and magazines by her bed. And when I was very young, I used to like to take her books and go through them, and I would try to read them because I was so interested, and I loved the drawings and the pictures. And I remember her letting us go to the library, and I always picked out great books from the library. And I'm going to show you, I'm not going to read this book, but I'm going to show you what was my favorite book when I was a little girl. I actually have the book, so let me go on ahead and get it. It's my favorite book, and it's Madeline's Rescue by Ludwig Bellemans. And it's just one of my favorite books when I was a little girl. I remember staying up at night and turning on my light when everyone was sleeping and going through this book. I don't know, I must have read it 100 times and looked at the pictures and just really loved this book. It's about a little orphan girl that lives in an orphanage with some nuns, and I just really liked it. You know, when I got older, I've always wanted to work in an orphanage with kids. That's amazing how things will stay with you when you're very, very young. If you have not looked into this book, you know, yes, we are adults, but there are some writings and some books that are really amazing. And this is one of those books that I really enjoy, and I have it till this day. I have this book and I really like going through it, and it just brings back so many great memories for me that I really, really enjoy. This is another book I want to share with you, and it's called Ruth Fielding at Briarwood Hall, and this is written by Alice B. Emerson, And this is just a really nice book. I can't wait to get into this book. I am looking forward to reading this book and seeing what it really is about. To me, it seems when I'm reading the back about sorority and about them being in college and what club they want to be in and what club is good for them to be in or not be in. I like different books. I like new and up and coming authors, but sometimes there are authors that will rewrite a book and they will change the cover and the cover looks different. There's another book that I have that I started reading that was about two sisters and I really enjoy, but I didn't know the author was an author from way back in the early 1900s. They just rewrote the story and they changed the cover of the book, so it was pretty interesting.